Hey everyone, it's your sassy host Alex. Welcome to the Creator's Lounge. In this series, I will focus on all things inspirational. The goal is to expand universal light by inspiring listeners to create their very own masterpieces. I hope you enjoy. Hi, my name is Alex, and welcome to the Creator's Lounge. So what is the Creator's Lounge, you may ask? Well, we are all divine beings, and throughout life we experience sparks of divine energy that inspire us to create content to be shared with the world. So I wanted to create a space for those content creators to share exactly that, their divine sparks. And hopefully something about maybe something you'll see will inspire that spark in you. I've always loved Oprah's interviewing style. Hell, I even imagined quite often being interviewed by Oprah. Call me. Okay, so in addition to that, I also have a natural curiosity about humans. I love everything that makes humans tick and click. I'm curious. I want to know about it. So hopefully this will become a space and place for humans to be human as that divine spark inspires them to create. I hope you enjoy it, and welcome to the Creator's Lounge. As I was preparing for my first ever podcast, I was thinking about what that first thing was that I wanted to talk about. And the first thing that came to me last night was, what holds us back? What holds us back from creating and sharing and spreading that divine light and that divine spark? And in true form, my angels notified me it was fear, right? You hear you have to want it more than you fear it, but fear is crippling to most of us, right? You ever wonder why the world is made up of so little Beyoncés, but it's filled with a bunch of LaShantays, right? Beyonce as in reaching that pinnacle success that so very few of us reach. But then, you could turn every corner and the world is full of LaShantays. And I'm sorry if your name is LaShante. It's just an example. Just go with it. Listen to the message, not necessarily the labels being used. So yeah, why do most of us either only reach a certain level of success or we don't reach at all? During my thought process, I was haunted by the very powerful words of Timo Cruz from the movie Coach Carter, delivered eloquently and much better than I will be able to do by the actor Rick Gonzalez. I'll read it for you now. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. It's not just some of us, it's everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Wow! Powerful, right? So how is your fear crippling you? How is your fear not only robbing you, but robbing others, right? Other people's ability to witness and experience your fearlessness and your courageousness and ignite something in them that will allow them or afford them that same courageousness and that same fearlessness. So it's not only like you're keeping it from yourself or you're keeping yourself from succeeding and igniting, But what if you're keeping others from it as well? Others who will just witness you on your journey. How much of a crime against humanity would that be? So hear my words, my divine, beautiful collective. You have all of what it takes to be successful, whether you want to be a Beyonce or you want to be the badass LaShante, the best version of LaShante that ever existed. It's all inside of you. Again, you have to want it more than you fear it. Hasn't fear robbed you of enough? Not only that, but it's also robbing the rest of the world. Now, go be great. I have a very special treat for you all today. I am here with the author of The Starseed Prophecy, Mr. Brian P. Schwelling. Brian, thank you so much, and welcome to the Creators Lounge. How are you today?
Doing very well, Alex. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I see here that you are a light sport pilot. You like advanced scuba diving and also spiritual exploration. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, so light sport aircraft or two-seat aircraft that fly at or below 150 miles an hour. We push that quite often, but that's the rule. I've been a scuba diver, oh my goodness, 15 years. I probably have 1,500 dives, something of that nature. Yeah, so I've dived, not all over the world, but all over the eastern portion of the globe. And then, spiritually, I'm just gotten my Reiki 2 certification.
Nice.
I'm working on a Reiki mastery. I've been a healer my whole life pretty much. And so I want to really dive more into that.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's amazing. So you're basically covering all terrains. We got the air, we got water, and the ethereal plane. So,
Exactly.
I'm very pleased to be here with you on Earth.
Oh, pleasure is mine, Alex. I told you that 1,000 times. Seriously,
Yeah.
you're amazing.
Thank you. I guess that's the part we're both trying to master, right? This Earth plane.
Yes.
So tell me something. What inspired you to write this masterpiece?
Okay, so I was kind of in both a spiritual and somewhat desperation mode when I went into meditation one Friday night. And during that meditation, I was speaking to my guides, specifically asking them for information that would give me an idea for a side hustle or something else to do other than what I normally do. And that would be in addition to, not instead of. And so I came out of the meditation, no problem, watched TV, drank some water, went to sleep. Woke up the next morning with the entire book in my head. Yeah, it was crazy. By 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon, I had the entire prologue written. I'd even sent it to some friends, you included, and it was, to me, it was basically passing through me, the whole book, the prologue, the story, how I did it, the characters, because I knew nothing about writing fiction. I'd written nonfiction plenty of times in my life, but never fiction. And so I knew nothing about it. And it basically they told me what to put down on paper, and I did.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing. I wish I can say I was unfamiliar with that process, but I'm very much familiar. And I just think it's just awesome. I remember when you sent me the prologue and I couldn't stop reading it, and I'm somebody, by the way, who hates reading. And I remember telling you, I read it 3 times. Like I was already hooked. I was already invested. And I have to tell you, for this to be your first book, you've knocked it completely out of the park.
Well, thank you. And I like to say that I'm half responsible for it. Like, a lot of people have been giving me just the most beautiful compliments on this book. And I love it. I listen to it almost every day. I listen to the book but the story was given to me. it was a download. I mean, I have to give God credit and Spirit credit for having given this to me, because I didn't have it. I went to sleep Friday without it, woke up Saturday with it, and there's no other explanation. I specifically asked for it in meditation. It showed up. So I have to give credit where credit's due with
Wow.
it. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It was a lot of information. I remember our conversations, when we would speak about listening to spirit and following spiritual guidance. And I think I can recall a time of telling you, spirit is really chatty. Well, that prologue just proved it. They gave you a
Yes.
whole entire prologue of
Yes.
information. Yeah. And definitely, when listeners and people who will read the book, I don't think they'll actually get it until they read it at just how, profound that information was.
Yeah, the prologue sets up the entire book. I mean,
Yeah.
and that was what drove me, because had they given me a story where it kind of led up to something, and I might not have stuck with it. I mean, I may not have stuck with it, right?
Right.
But the prologue itself is so captivating. It just gets you right there. Boom, you're in it. Now
Yeah.
the rest of the story comes. And
Yeah.
so, to me, like I said, I don't want it to sound self-serving. It was really something that was inspired, and I'm very grateful, extremely grateful for it.
Absolutely. I fully get that. I understand it.
Yeah.
So if you had one thing you wanted readers to take away from this, what would that be?
That if you believe God is God, then he's God of it all. He, she, it, we, they, however, okay. He didn't just make Earth and go, oh, okay, I'm just gonna, and then the rest of the space and stars and planets that I create, I'm just gonna leave it alone and not touch it, right? God is God of all of it. And I think that there is a distinct possibility that we are far more intertwined with the other planets and the beings from those planets than we know. And I really believe, and some people may agree or disagree, but I believe that there's validation in the Bible for that. And again, we can have all kinds of conversations about that, but the fact of the matter is if you can explain the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse easier than the potential of aliens showing up in a spaceship, then okay, I'm all ears. I'll be more than happy to listen. And so I just believe that we mentioned the different potential star seeds in the book. Some of them may be shocking to some people. I was certainly surprised, again, because I wasn't really thinking of them. They were just kind of coming to me. And so I firmly believe that it was divine download that gave me the names of the people that were named as star seeds. And so there is an underlying sort of biblical slant to it that people who know the Bible will recognize immediately. But I never mention the Bible. I don't mention one verse in the book at all. It's really just a story that goes in lockstep with the Bible, along with being about star seeds.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think it's also cool at the time in which you released this, because I was watching on the news the other day and I thought I saw some sort of report where there's going to be like an official, forum or something in Congress that, kind of promotes the idea that UFOs are real and aliens do exist. So I thought the timing of the release of the book was synchronistic, right?
Okay, so let me just give you a little piece on that. I don't watch the news. Okay, I will flip through and read headlines just so I can keep an idea of what's going on in the world. But I swore off the news like 6 years ago. And so I stopped watching the news. My mother came to me and said, hey, did you hear about what's going on in Congress? Just as I was submitting it to Amazon. And I said, no. And she said that what you had just said. And so I did catch on YouTube some videos from Congress where a guy is saying for the record that we saw pilots and they were not human. Whoa.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on? So it drove me, I was off the rocker. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, that was just great stuff.
I know. And as I was reading through the book, and of course, I'm not going to give anything away, that especially blew my mind, with one of the characters in the book and, his debate So
Exactly. It's so totally possible. And it could very well happen. I mean, wouldn't that be crazy?
I know,
So,
I know, right?
I know.
Um,
Well, one of my friends, real quick, I had to convince him that it was fiction. He freaked. He's a devout believer, but he doesn't believe in aliens and he doesn't believe in UFOs. And I said to him, I'm like, easy, take it easy. It's fiction. Relax. He's like, well, it doesn't seem like fiction to me.
right. That's because it does something to you. As you and I, we talk up obviously, and I told you offline, especially the postscript. The
Yes.
postscript, I did not feel like myself. I felt like I was in even another dimension just because of the direction of how that postscript was written and, kind of placement, as in,
Yes.
who is it written for? Who was it speaking to? Who was it about?
Right.
So, I can understand anyone becoming triggered by this book because it kind of feels like somewhere deep inside of you, it just nudges you to believe in something beyond anything that you were raised to believe. So I get that
I
response
agree.
completely. Yeah.
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so.
So this is a trilogy. This is one of three. What can readers expect for the next installment?
Okay, so I haven't begun writing it yet. I have begun outlining it, and I've taken a lot of notes, which I've never done before. I've never journaled. I mean, and it's horrible that I haven't. But in this particular case, I felt every time I got an idea about the second book, it was important that I wrote it down. So I did. And basically, we're going to find that some of the characters are much more evil than they're portrayed in the first book. Others even more benevolent than they were portrayed in the first
Yeah.
book. There's some surprises, but I'll give you a little piece of it that came to me from meditation the other day, and that is that one of the main characters is going to speak to all of the star seeds and give them the option of staying on Earth or continuing their work. And on a specific day and time, 144,000 of them are going to disappear all at once from the face of the earth.
See?
And that is in lockstep with Revelation. And it will be noticed. People will discuss it. I mean, in the book, the population of the earth are going to notice these 144,000 people missing instantaneously. Wow. And so it's going to start a conversation, obviously, that could have biblical implications in the book. I'm not going to be mentioning the Bible in any way, but it's going to go in lockstep with it.
Yeah. I'm hooked already.
That's so great.
I'm hooked already. I can't wait to get my next copy.
Oh,
well, Brian,
so
thank you so much for stopping by the Creators Lounge. I wish you nothing but success. For our users who are interested in purchasing a copy of the Starseed Prophecy, go ahead and head on over to Amazon.
yes.
Brian is also on Facebook at the Starseed Prophecy. And if you're interested in emailing Brian directly, you can send him an email at thestarseed111@gmail.com. Brian, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. Pleasure's mine.
Okay. In today's inspirational nugget, let's talk about choosing you. Choosing you is the most important part of self-care. Choosing you does not mean neglecting others. Choosing you just means investing in yourself, your mental health, emotional health, physical health, etc. Choosing you is checking to see how you're feeling. An example is to simply ask yourself, how are you feeling today? The most important part of this exercise is to be honest with yourself and take heed to your responses. If you have checked in with yourself and you discover that you're feeling anything but good, it's time for some major self-care. Self-care just means taking time out to make yourself feel good and or happy. Self-care could consist of anything: cooking a great meal, meditating, jogging, relaxing in a warm bubble bath, anything that's legal and safe, of course. I would recommend checking in with yourself at the end of every day. And if you're not feeling your best, then it's time for some self-care. That was your inspirational nugget. Take care and be well. Well, that's a wrap for our first ever episode of the Creators Lounge. Thank you so much for your viewership, especially if you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much to Brian P. Schwelling. Please head over to Amazon.com to pick up your copy of the Starseed Prophecy. Also, if you would like to be featured on future episodes of the Creators Lounge, feel free to send me an email at alexangel07770@gmail.com. I appreciate you all. I hope to see you soon. Bye, guys.